friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today to talk about a year in review for Rain Country Homestead. So first, let me start off with the top 5 videos for 2021. Now that's not the top 5 videos from 2021, but the top 5 for 2021, which means there's only one video out of the top 5 that I actually put out in 2021, and that one is in 5th place and is the one I did on cheese for long-term food storage, like different ways you can preserve the cheese or purchase the cheese that you can put up in a form that will last for many months or years down the road. And by the way, I'll be linking to each one of these videos as well as any accompaniment video that I think will go with it that would be more of an update. So for example, after I did the video on the cheese, talking about that, it wasn't long later that I tried waxing my own cheese and then did do a video on that and how to do it. And I tried dehydrating my own cheese. And what I mean by my own cheese, not cheese that I made. Though I have videos on making your own cheese, I'm talking about buying like store-bought hard cheeses like cheddar and so on. And so yes, I've dehydrated and made a cheese powder, which I will be doing an update video to that down the road after I work with it a little bit more to figure out how many different uses I can find for it. In 4th place is a video I did in 2020 on the benefits of oregano, and I don't have an update or accompanying video to go with that other than the whole playlist I have on herbs and their benefits. So far that playlist is a compilation of the past 5 years, different profiles I've done on different herbs, and I'm adding to it all the time. And then in 3rd place is the one we did in 2018 on how we took ourselves off thyroid medication. The thing that was exciting to me about seeing this video finally take off is it's not that it wasn't, getting decent views in the first few years that it was out there. It's just that it didn't really start taking off until about mid-2021. And I was really glad to see that because even though we're not doctors, I do know there's many people that watched that video 3, 2, even a year ago and went and started following the basic guideline that we laid out, what we did, and came back and said, I did this and I'm now officially off my medication and feeling lots better and not taking any more pharmaceuticals to help with their hypothyroidism. Now there is an update video I did on that mostly for the sake of clarifying that the fact that that video from 2018 is about hypothyroidism, not hyperthyroidism. But in this update video I shot this past year, just a few months ago, tops, I do talk about some natural help for hyperthyroidism, but you have to also keep in mind that is not based off my own personal experience, like the how we dealt with hypothyroidism is. Now the video in 2nd place for 2021 is the one that was actually in 1st place for 2020, and that is what to do when the toilet paper is all gone. And I gave a few different options. And at that time when I shot the video, even though I'd been using cloth wipes for several years, I hadn't made the full change, if you know what I mean, to the cloth wipes. But right after shooting that video, I did. And thus, this past year, I shot an update video on that. Now, there are other options I know, such as bidets and squirt bottles. So it's all got to be tailored to suit each individual person and family and what works best for them. Loving the cloth though, and I cover all that and how I wash it and so on in that video. Now the video that came in 1st place, it spiked in August and then it spiked again in October, bringing it into the 1st place position. Another video from 2018, and it is the one I did on making a natural antibiotic extract. And I've got so many questions on that, and I change things all the time, and though I was glad to see that video take off as well. One thing, that video only focused on one particular herb that I use for making my antibiotic extract, and I still love that particular herb, though I've changed the way I make the extract now because I don't use glycerin anymore, but I do use a mix of homemade wine and raw honey. Raw honey gives it even more antibiotic properties. Now, there are many other herbs you can use. You don't have to use nasturtium leaves. If you're not already growing the nasturtiums and drying the leaves and flowers up yourself, it's almost impossible to find somebody selling the dehydrated leaves. But that's fine because there's many other great herbal options that you can go with for making your own homemade antibiotics. Now, that's just even one of the ones that I use. So I will link to the companion video to go with that is far more updated. I can't remember if I shot it in 2020 or 2021, but it is the video I did on a list of natural antibiotics. So I will link to that right along with that. I recommend you watch that one. So if you don't grow nasturtiums or can't get your hands on them, then you can look into that for some other options. And that's antibiotic. Some people get confused between antiviral and antibiotic. However, here's the cool thing about herbs in general. Most herbs that are antibiotic are also antiviral anyway. So I also have a list that is and this I know I did in 2020, of natural antiviral herbs and more. And with that, I'm going to mention again that I will be posting that whole playlist to the herb profiles, but I'm also going to be posting the whole playlist to the natural remedies lists. So it's a series I've been putting together. I believe I started the series, officially started the series this past year, where I was compiling different herbs, foods, supplements, and more into specific lists for various ailments. I've got pain and anti-inflammatories in one. And then I've got the antivirals. And then I have one on helping with high cholesterol and one on helping with menopause. And the list keeps growing. And there's more in there than that. I just never remember them all when I'm talking about it. But that's one of the things that you should expect to see in 2022. I'm going to be continuing that list and building on it because I have many more topics related to that I want to talk about and compile that information. And please know, the reason I do that is not because I'm a doctor and not that I have experience in all those. Some I do, yes, like pain and inflammation and what I use, but not all of them because we don't have issues with high cholesterol. Though Patrick at one time was told he had high cholesterol, and we did deal with that on our own without pharmaceuticals. We don't deal with chronic high blood pressure or diabetes, but I do talk about these various things. So I share that because it's important that you understand that some of those topics that I covered are not necessarily ones we have a lot of experience with. It's just me taking the time to sit down and compile information from very many different sites and types of sites, be it scientific sites, .gov sites, natural websites, and putting it all together into one list to help you be able to do your own research from there. So some other newer additions to my channel that I've been putting together are comparing different products when it comes to anything preparedness related, whether it be things that you use for preserving foods, like I did a video, for example, on different dehydrators. I compared 3 of the top dehydrators out there, or was it 4? Anyway, I compared several different dehydrators. There's many more, but I just wanted to do the comparison of the few that I really looked into. But again, from there, you're supposed to be doing your own research and doing your own comparisons. But some of that is based in experience on a couple of different dehydrators, and some of that was based on what I read about dehydrators and heard from followers. And so I've been doing different ones like that. I also did a video on why I stopped using Food Saver, and it wasn't really just about why I stopped using the Food Saver vacuum sealing machine. It was about the other things I use instead of using any kind of vacuum sealing machine, no matter what brand it is. And so that was just to kind of help you guys not only understand where I'm coming from and answer the question I get all the time, why I gave up on Food Saver. It wasn't just about the machine, but wanting to get away from the plastic bags, and because I have a better methods that I've been perfecting over the years and how I preserve different types of foods. Another one was comparing freeze drying to dehydrating. What are the pros and cons between the two, and why I personally won't buy a freeze dryer. And it was actually after doing the research to put that together to help people figure out what's best for them that I came up with the conclusion that freeze dryer is not for me. It's not worth the expense, the maintenance and all that. But again, personal choice. So that's why I recommend you watch those videos to at least get an idea if it's something you're considering. It may be the absolute perfect choice for you. It's just not for everyone. So I've been trying to do that with various different products that are out there, because a lot of times people can kind of feel a little browbeat because maybe they don't have the Excalibur dehydrator, which from what I understand is a great dehydrator, but it's not for everyone. Some people don't like the size. Some people don't like the way the door works on it, and so on and so forth. And same thing with the freeze dryer. There's plenty of people that love it and plenty of people that really wish they wouldn't have invested in it, and several that actually sent theirs back. And so I think it's important that people understand that. And I brought up the Excalibur because some people there's always those people that sort of come in, whether it be the Excalibur or the Vitamix or the KitchenAid or whatever big, fancy, expensive equipment, or even the Country Living grain mill like we have, that make people feel like they're not doing it right if they don't have this big, expensive, fancy piece of equipment. But that's just not true, because everybody's going to have something that's going to suit them and their needs better, and their pocketbook. You shouldn't invest in a big, fancy piece of equipment if it's actually not going to suit your needs. That's why I've been putting those kind of videos together. So one of the newer additions to my channel. And then also I've been continuing on various lists, just like the herb playlist. I'm always adding to that. I always will be, as long as I'm still here on YouTube, because there's many, 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 many medicinal herbs out there. There's many I haven't heard of. There's many you haven't heard of. There's many I have heard of, but I haven't had a chance to research or even use for myself yet. So that's why I do this. And just like, for example, the one that you should have seen by now that I did on eye health, I did actually for my sake, because I'm trying to work on my eye health and finding out what more I can do. And thus, because of the research I did for that video, I've made some changes and have been adding, actually in this case, more supplements, because even though I try to eat very healthy and try to get good healthy foods, organic and so on, from different food groups, because I'm actually trying to heal my eyes the best I can, I'm in cases like that, yes, I am supplementing, and I do believe I'm seeing some difference. But the supplement is not necessarily always a separated out nutrient, but supplementing in the form of taking a whole herb that's been powdered and then put into encapsulated form and taking it that way, so that, you know, if I don't have those fruits and vegetables like bilberries, for example, available to me, I can take it in an encapsulated powdered form and get it that way to help heal my eyes. And then some other topics I'm always adding to every year will be about gardening tips. And here's the thing you have to understand. If you watch some of my gardening tips from 5 years ago when I first started my channel, or what I did, some of these things have changed over the years. Some of it either because I've learned a better way through my own experience, or because of the changing climate that's been getting colder and colder, at least for us, every growing season. So having to come up with better ways that I can grow things and get some production out of it. So always I'll be adding to that and changing the way I do things. And that's the way we have to be. We have to be fluid to be able to change and not assume that what we did 10 years ago in growing potatoes is going to work this year or the next year. We always have to be prepared for some kind of weird changes. For example, like that crazy heat wave that we had in June. Now, we might get a hot day or two in June, but we usually don't get our hot summer weather until about mid-July. And this came in June, and because of the time of the year, it did fry a lot of people's gardens around here. Some people lost whole crops, but these are the kind of things that I'm going to keep sharing, because you have to be prepared for whatever is going to happen. So I'll be going more into detail about that as I start doing my gardening videos more throughout this year. Oh, and one big thing that happened in 2021, I was going to say this right off the bat. we finally, at right around the 4.5-year mark of having my channel, hit 100,000 subscribers. And that was a pretty big thing. As you can see right back here is my plaque. That was a pretty big thing because I've worked hard on this channel. Patrick and I both have, but mostly it's been me. I do all the video editing. I do most of the video recreating in the first place, and I'm the one that got it up off the ground, and he contributes with his own videos here and there. But after so much hard work that I put into this channel, it was nice to finally see that. And it looks like we might actually hit 200,000 here in 2022. So that will be pretty cool. So anyway, thank you everyone for helping us to grow by subscribing to our channel and for sharing our videos with other people. That is really, really helpful. And then before I close out this video, let me talk real quickly about a few personal things that happened in 2021. Let's actually go back to the end of 2020 when my first grandchild was born, Jackson. And then in January of 2021, I started watching him 3 days a week. And so it's been very exciting having a grandchild and having such a close relationship with him. And now he's over a year old, and we're just very close. I mean, he loves grandma. He loves grandpa. When grandpa's in the room, he walks up to grandpa, grabs hold of him because he wants grandpa to either just hold him and carry him around or wrestle with him. He loves that so much. So it's just been a real blessing to have this kind of relationship with our grandchild and having him so close, and then getting to have him here be a part of our lives 3 days a week, and already starting to work with him and teach him things. Because I do plan on doing a little bit of homeschooling with him myself, and any other grandchildren for that matter, which then brings me to the next big thing that happened in 2021, and that was the marriage of our youngest son, Justin, to Marlene. And shortly after that, we got the news that she's expecting. So we're expecting our second grandchild in May of this year. So that's really exciting. Another big thing that happened in 2021. And we've also been slowly working on some different other types of changes that have been helping us along in our being more self-sufficient and in our preparedness. And I'll be talking more about that in some other videos, but some of it does involve downsizing some things to make up for the difference of the things that we're either needing to acquire or continuing to stock up on, be it a food, tools, and so on. Oh, and I forgot, I was gonna say real quick, the this and that videos, I've been doing those since I started my channel. The first this and that video was just on a whim. I just threw it together. And then it ended up becoming something that I did like maybe once a month and once every other week. And then starting for sure in 2021, I started making it a habit to not just do them on a weekly basis, but to have them come out on the same day of the week. So every Monday is my this and that video. And what those are weekly vlogs that I do that can keep you updated and more current to what is going on, because most of the videos you see, I've recorded 3, 4, sometimes even 5 weeks ahead of time. And I do that to keep myself prepared in case something happens where I'm unable to record and edit videos for a while. I'm set. I've got videos that will still be coming out, and I like that. It keeps me ahead. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my year in review, and don't forget to check the videos I'll be linking to in the description box down below by clicking on either show more in all caps right down here below my channel name if you're on a computer, and if you're on a smart device, it'll be a little gray arrow on this side just below the corner of the screen here. You click on that and that will open up the description box so you can see not just the video links, but any other links and information that I'll be putting in there. Oh, and by the way, share with us if you can think, what was your favorite video of ours from 2021? It'd be interesting to see what people have to say. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care. And God bless.